There is a number somewhere that counts your friends. You did not count them before. There was no number. There were only the people who were there, uncounted, because counting had never been the point. This is not a summary of David Fincher's The Social Network. It is one word from inside the film, followed until it breaks. In Fincher's film, a college student builds a website that lets people collect their friends, list them, display them, add them with a single click. It becomes the largest collection of its kind in the history of the world. He builds it while losing the only real friend he had. This archive does not follow the lawsuits. It follows one word after it has been turned into something that can be counted. Friend. The archive begins where the word is everywhere and the thing it named is gone. This is a quiet return to a film you may already know, to follow the question still waiting inside it. The word friend is not supposed to be a verb. It names a relationship, not an action. You do not friend someone. You become their friend slowly, through a process that has no single moment of completion. There is no click. There is no confirmation. There is only the gradual accumulation of being there, of showing up, of staying, of the small unrecorded acts that, over time, make one person a friend, rather than an acquaintance, a stranger, a name. The word carries weight, the way a worn path carries weight, made by repetition, the same ground crossed enough times that it begins to remember. You cannot make it with a single step. You cannot make it instantly. The word requires the friction of time, the cost of having been there when being there was not convenient. And because it costs something, it means something. A friend is partly defined by what it took to become one. The late nights, the times you showed up when it would have been easier not to, the accumulation of small presences that no one counted because counting was never the point. The word held all of this without saying so. You did not need to explain what a friend was. You simply had them. The few people who had crossed the ground enough times that you no longer remembered a version of your life without them in it. This is what the word held before the film, without anyone needing to say so. In the film, it begins with a girl. Mark is in a bar with Erica. He is talking quickly, anxiously, in a way that circles his own insecurities and lands, repeatedly, on her. The conversation goes badly. She tells him, before she leaves, that he will go through life believing people keep their distance because he is a nerd, and that the real reason will be something harder to fix than that. She ends it. He goes back to his dorm room. He writes about her, publicly, cruelly. The first thing he does with his hurt is broadcast it. And then, in the same night, he builds something. A website that pulls photographs of women from the university's directories and asks people to rank them against each other. It spreads across the campus in hours. The servers strain. The first thing he builds is a machine for ranking people. The first thing he builds is born from a wound about connection. This is where it starts, not with a vision of connecting the world, with a man who has just been told he is hard to be close to, sitting alone, building something that will let him do to connection what connection has just done to him. Make it measurable, make it rankable, Make it into a thing that can be won. Breath enters, breath leaves. Between breaths, the air holds its density. There is a friend in this film. His name is Eduardo. He is Mark's roommate, his closest friend, the one person who is there at the beginning, before there is a company, before there is money, before there is anything to be there for. When Mark needs the first money to run the servers, Eduardo provides it. When Mark needs someone to believe in the thing before it is a thing, Eduardo believes. The friendship has texture. It is in the small things the film shows without underlining. The two of them in a room late at night, the easy way they speak, the algorithm Eduardo writes on the window for Mark to use, the trust that does not need to announce itself. Eduardo is the one Mark calls. Eduardo is the one who answers. They have the kind of friendship that does not yet know it is being tested, because it has never had a reason to imagine it could be. Eduardo is the friend in the original sense. He has crossed the ground enough times. He has shown up when showing up was not convenient. He fronted the money. He was the CFO of nothing, the believer in a dorm room idea, the name on the early documents. He is, in the precise old meaning of the word, Mark's friend, made by repetition, by history, by the friction of having been there. He's also about to become the thing the new machine cannot hold. Because the website Mark builds is called Facebook, and its central verb is friend, you friend someone, you collect them. The number rises. The word inside the machine sheds everything that made it heavy, the time, the friction, the cost of presence, and becomes something that can be done instantly, infinitely, at no cost to anyone. The word is being redefined inside the very building where the last real friendship is still standing. The friendship does not survive the building. As Facebook grows, Mark moves toward the people who can scale it. Investors, the founder of a rival success, the architecture of a real company. Eduardo, who was there at the beginning, becomes an obstacle to where it is going. He freezes a bank account. He does not understand the speed. He is the friend from before, and the thing being built has no room for before. So Eduardo is removed, not in a single dramatic act, through paperwork. His ownership of the company, once roughly a third, is diluted through a financing arrangement he signs without understanding, down to almost nothing. A fraction of a %. He signs the papers himself, believing they are routine, believing he is still the friend, still the partner, still inside the thing he helped build. He finds out later what he signed. The injury was not only the removal, it was that he had gone on understanding himself through the older word the entire time. Not as an investor, not as an employee, not as a name on a document that could be revised. As a friend, the one who had believed before believing had any value, who had stood close before closeness could be converted into a percentage. He had signed the papers from inside that word. He did not read them the way a businessman reads papers, because he did not believe he was in a transaction. He believed he was with his friend. He signed the way you sign something a friend slides across a table, trusting that the word the two of you were standing in would hold whatever the paper said. The papers answered from somewhere else. They had never been inside the word at all. The word friend had two meanings in the room, and they could not both survive. There was the friend the machine made. Addable, countable, infinitely multipliable, costing nothing, meaning the click. And there was the friend Eduardo was, made of years, made of the money fronted and the belief extended when there was nothing to believe in. The two meanings used the same word. This is what made it possible. If the machine had invented a new word, a word that did not already mean something, Eduardo would have known where he stood. He would have seen that he was being converted from one kind of thing into another. But the machine did not invent a new word. It took the old one, the heavy one, the one Eduardo had earned, and used it for the weightless thing. And so, the conversion was invisible. Eduardo went on believing he was the friend in the old sense, signing papers, trusting, right up until the moment he learned that the word had been quietly emptied while he was still standing inside it. The machine ran on the weightless meaning. The company required it. And the older meaning, the one with weight, the one that had been there before any of it, was diluted to a fraction of a percent and asked to sign. There is a scene where Eduardo confronts him. He has discovered what was done. He comes into the office where the machine is being built, and he says the thing that is true, that he was the friend, the one friend, that he was there. And Mark, surrounded by the apparatus of a company that now connects millions of people, sits inside the largest friendship machine ever built, and has, in the old sense, no friends left in the room. Eduardo's anger is not really about the money, the fraction of a percent, the diluted shares, the signature obtained under false pretense. These are the instruments, not the wound. The wound is older and simpler. He had been the friend. He had given the thing a friend gives. Presence before there was a reason. Belief before there was evidence. Money before there was anything to protect. And the person he gave it to had taken all of it and written him out, quietly, on paper. While the machine they built together spread the word friend to every corner of the earth. He had been the friend. He had been treated as a line item. He had built a word that everyone could send. He had unmade the one it used to mean. The machine was working perfectly. Across the world, the number was rising. People were friending each other 1,000,000 times a second, adding, collecting, counting. The word had never been used more. It had never been used by more people. It had been spread to every corner of the connected world, frictionless and instant and free. And in the office, the man who had spread it sat with the specific silence of someone who had just been told, correctly, that he had betrayed the only person the word had ever actually meant. You can be surrounded by the word and starved of the thing it names. This does not mean the new word was empty. People did find one another through it. Messages crossed distances that would have been silenced before. Names returned that had been lost for decades. Someone's life touched another's across an ocean because the machine had made the reaching possible. The lighter form of connection was not nothing. It was a new kind of reaching, real in its own way, available to more people than any form before it. The problem was not that the new word meant nothing. The problem was that it was given the old name, the heavy name, the name that already meant the other thing, the thing made of years and friction and the cost of having been there. Two weights, one word, and from the outside, no way to tell which one was being sent. This is the break the film follows. Not that Facebook is bad, or that connection is false, or that the friendships people make through it are not real. Something more specific. The word friend was made to carry a particular weight, and the machine that made it sendable also made it weightless. The same word now did two different jobs. One job required nothing, the other required everything, and they had stopped being distinguishable from the outside. The friend request travels instantly. The friendship it asks for does not arrive at the speed of the request. It still requires what it always required: the time, the friction, the cost of being there. The machine cannot send those. The machine can only send the word, and the word, sent without the weight, arrives looking exactly like the word sent with it. You can be surrounded by the word and starved of the thing it names. This does not mean the new word was empty. People did find one another through it. Messages crossed distances that would have been silenced before. Names returned that had been lost for decades. Someone's life touched another's across an ocean because the machine had made the reaching possible. The lighter form of connection was not nothing. It was a new kind of reaching, real in its own way, available to more people than any form before it. The problem was not that the new word meant nothing. The problem was that it was given the old name, the heavy name, the name that already meant the other thing, the thing made of years and friction and the cost of having been there. Two weights, one word, and from the outside, no way to tell which one was being sent. This is the break the film follows. Not that Facebook is bad, or that connection is false, or that the friendships people make through it are not real. Something more specific. The word friend was made to carry a particular weight, and the machine that made it sendable also made it weightless. The same word now did two different jobs. One job required nothing, the other required everything, and they had stopped being distinguishable from the outside. The friend request travels instantly. The friendship it asks for does not arrive at the speed of the request. It still requires what it always required: the time, the friction, the cost of being there. The machine cannot send those. The machine can only send the word, and the word, sent without the weight, arrives looking exactly like the word sent with it. This is the only thing the machine lets him do. He cannot undo the night he wrote about her. He cannot return to the bar and have the conversation differently. He cannot cross the ground again, slowly, the way the word used to require. The machine he built does not have a button for that. It has one button. It sends the request. It is the same button 500 million people are pressing, and it does for him exactly what it does for them. It sends the word stripped of everything that would make it land. The man who built the machine that lets the world add its friends with a single click is sitting alone, clicking, waiting to see if one person will accept. The machine cannot give him what he is asking it for. It can send the request. It cannot make her his friend. That word, the one with the weight, the one he diluted to a fraction of a percent and asked to sign, the one he broadcast to the world after stripping it of everything that made it cost something. That word does not answer to the refresh button. He built the machine that turned the word into a verb, and in the building, he lost the one friend the machine was not built to hold. The one who had been there before there was anything to be there for. The word is everywhere now. It has stopped meaning the thing he lost. He refreshes the page. The number of his friends is larger than any number the word has ever counted. He is waiting for one of them. The archive remains.